Hey, Lions Nation! We're back with another exclusive video bringing you all the latest news about our beloved Detroit Lions. Before we get started, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss anything about the team. Now, let's get into the news. For anyone who's been a Detroit Lions fan since childhood, stepping onto that practice field is more than a dream come true. It's a piece of history come to life. The same turf that hosted legends now welcomes a new generation of players who carry the pride, grit, and heart of an entire city on their shoulders. But when Jack Campbell walked out there, his presence meant more than just another rookie chasing greatness. For him, it was an honor, a true, once-in-a-lifetime moment that became even more meaningful when his character off the field took center stage. The day began like any other in Allen Park. Drills, whistles, the hum of focused energy. Yet the atmosphere shifted when a member of the United States military arrived, not to talk strategy or football, but to recognize something deeper, the kind of leadership that extends beyond the game. Standing before the team, he spoke with sincerity about how rare it is to meet someone who gives back to those who serve the nation. And that someone was Jack Campbell. Before even making his NFL debut, Campbell had already made a difference. Not long after being drafted, he reached out to members of the Michigan National Guard stationed in Syria. Imagine that, a young athlete, still processing the excitement of joining a professional team, taking time to connect with soldiers half a world away. No cameras, no publicity, just genuine respect and gratitude. That simple gesture spoke louder than any stat line or headline could. The soldier presenting the recognition brought something small in size but immense in meaning, a challenge coin. For those unfamiliar, it's a treasured military symbol, a token given only to those who've earned it through actions that inspire others. As he handed it to Jack, he also shared that he had written a personal letter, one that expressed admiration for the linebacker's commitment to honoring the men and women in uniform. He didn't read the entire message aloud, but you could feel the emotion in his voice as he mentioned how deeply Campbell's actions resonated within the military community. Jack, visibly moved, listened with quiet humility. He wasn't the loudest guy in the room or someone seeking attention. He was simply grateful. It's in moments like that you see what kind of person he truly is, someone who views football as a privilege, not just a career. Someone who understands that the game can be a bridge between very different worlds. The bond between football and the armed forces has always been powerful, built on shared values like discipline, loyalty, and teamwork. And Jack Campbell's gesture was a reminder that those values don't stop when the final whistle blows. What makes Campbell's story even more remarkable is how natural it all feels. He doesn't try to be a hero. He just acts from the heart. That authenticity is what defines the new culture in Detroit. Under this era of the Lions, it's not enough to play hard. You have to care hard too. This organization has become about more than just winning games. It's about building men of purpose. Campbell embodies that perfectly. He's the kind of player every coach dreams of, the one who leads not because of his title, but because of his actions. From his college days, people noticed how he carried himself with quiet confidence and deep focus. His leadership wasn't loud. It was steady, built on respect and effort. When he joined the Lions, those same qualities stood out instantly. He practices harder than most, studies every play like it's a final exam, and never forgets that every chance he gets to put on that uniform is a privilege. So when that soldier stood there acknowledging him, it wasn't just about one man. It was about what the Lions stand for now. The moment captured everything this team is trying to build: integrity, gratitude, and unity. It showed that football, at its core, is about connection. It's about remembering that the platform these athletes have can lift others, inspire communities, and honor sacrifices that often go unnoticed. As the recognition came to an end, the soldier congratulated Jack once again and wished him well in the national selection process, a nod to the possibility that Campbell's support for the troops might soon be honored on an even larger scale. Jack smiled, shook his hand firmly, and tucked the coins safely away. Then, without making a big scene, he jogged back to the field, helmet in hand, ready for the next drill. Because that's who he is: consistent, grounded, and all about the work. That small coin in his pocket will serve as a constant reminder of something greater than football. It represents brotherhood, service, and the ripple effect of kindness. For Jack Campbell, Wearing the Lions' colors isn't just about defending a goal line. It's about defending values that matter. And for the Detroit Lions, having a player like him means everything. A team once defined by heartbreak is now being rebuilt by players who lead with their hearts. In a league where headlines often focus on controversies, moments like these remind us why we love the game in the first place. It's not just about stats or contracts. It's about character, legacy, and the quiet heroes who make an impact where it truly counts. Jack Campbell may be young, but he's already proving that greatness isn't measured only by what happens on the field. It's measured by what you stand for when no one's watching, by how you treat people who can't give you anything in return, and by the respect you show to those who serve. For a lifelong Lions fan turned player, that's the real victory. Not just wearing the jersey, but honoring what it represents. Before we move on, take a second to drop a like and subscribe. That way, you'll stay up to date with every exclusive Lions update, and you'll even have a chance to win an official Detroit Lions jersey. Let's keep going. The Detroit Lions are making headlines again, and this time it's not just another off-season rumor. It's a statement. Multiple sources around the league are buzzing that the Lions have locked in one of the most dominant running backs of the modern era, Derrick Henry. Yes, the King himself could be heading to the Motor City. If this move is finalized, it won't just shake the NFC North. It could change the entire balance of power in the conference. For years, the Lions have been building something special. Under Dan Campbell, they've become one of the most physical and fearless teams in football. They play with heart, they play with grit, and they've managed to build an offense that can punch defenses in the mouth. But now, by adding Derrick Henry, Detroit might have just added the ultimate weapon to finish what they started. Imagine this: Ford Field, packed to the roof, crowd roaring, and Derrick Henry lined up behind Jared Goff. Defenses would have to pick their poison, stack the box to stop the run, and you leave Amon-Ra St. Brown one-on-one. Drop into coverage, and Henry punishes you for it. The man doesn't just run, he imposes his will. And that's exactly what this new version of the Lions thrives on: dominance, intensity, and relentless energy. Since arriving in the NFL, Henry has built a reputation as a force of nature. He's not just big, he's fast, powerful, and absolutely ruthless when he gets into open space. For years, he was the heartbeat of the Tennessee Titans, carrying their offense and breaking tackles like they were paper. His highlight reels look like something out of a video game. Defenders bouncing off him, safeties getting buried in the turf, entire stadiums gasping as he turns what should have been a short gain into a 70-yard sprint. Now, put that same energy into Detroit's offense, a system already designed around balance and physical play. The Lions have one of the best defensive lines in football, a group that's been mauling opponents week after week. They opened lanes for David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs last season, creating one of the most effective backfield tandems in the league. But with Henry added to the mix, this goes from effective to terrifying. Reports say the Lions front office moved quietly but decisively, recognizing that adding Henry could be the missing piece to their Super Bowl puzzle. Jared Goff has been solid, smart, accurate, and poised, but every quarterback looks better when the defense is terrified of the run. Henry's presence alone changes how opponents scheme against Detroit. Linebackers start hesitating, safeties creep up, and suddenly play action becomes deadly. Ben Johnson, Detroit's offensive coordinator, must be grinning from ear to ear just thinking about the possibilities. For fans, this is more than just a signing. It's a symbol of how far the Lions have come. Not long ago, Detroit was a rebuilding team, stuck in the shadow of its own history. But now, they're landing superstars. Big names actually want to play there. That says everything about the culture Dan Campbell has built. He's created a team players believe in, a locker room that's united, and a city that's fallen in love with football again. Derrick Henry joining that movement is the ultimate validation. And make no mistake, this move is about winning now. The Lions aren't thinking about slow progress anymore. They're thinking about championships. The NFC is wide open, and Detroit's window is here. Henry's addition gives them the kind of late-season weapon every playoff team dreams of. When the temperature drops and the games get tougher, nobody wants to tackle Derrick Henry in the cold. He's the kind of player who wears down defenses, drives the clock, and turns close games into statement wins. There's also something poetic about this fit. Henry has always embodied the same qualities Campbell preaches: toughness, discipline, and a relentless drive to dominate. You can already picture the two of them on the sideline, all fire and intensity, pushing their team to break through any wall. It feels like destiny. The details of the contract haven't been made official yet, but insiders suggest the Lions structured the deal smartly, short-term, incentive-heavy, and team-friendly. That's classic Brad Holmes, the general manager who's been carefully balancing aggressiveness with long-term vision. Holmes knows you don't just throw money at stars. You bring in players who fit your identity. And Derrick Henry fits Detroit's identity perfectly. For opposing teams in the NFC North, this changes everything. The Bears and Packers are trying to find their rhythm, and the Vikings are stuck between rebuilding and contending. Meanwhile, Detroit is loading up. Imagine having to face an offense led by Goff, St. Brown, Gibbs, and Henry, behind an elite offensive line and backed by one of the most passionate fan bases in the league. It's a nightmare waiting to happen for defenses. Even beyond the X's and O's, there's a sense of excitement in Detroit that's hard to ignore. You can already feel the city buzzing, the fans dreaming bigger than ever before. It's been decades since the Lions looked this complete, this dangerous, this real. The team that used to be the league's punchline is now the one rewriting the script, and adding Derrick Henry is the exclamation point on that story. Of course, some will question whether Henry still has enough in the tank after years of heavy usage. But if you've watched him lately, you know he's far from done. His conditioning, his discipline, and his sheer willpower have kept him performing at a level few running backs ever reach. And in Detroit, where he won't have to carry the full load thanks to Gibbs and Montgomery, he could be even more explosive. This is the kind of move that shifts momentum, not just for a season, but for a franchise. It tells the league that Detroit isn't afraid anymore. They're not waiting for the future, they're claiming it. The King might be trading his crown of Nashville blue for Honolulu blue, and if that happens, the roar in Detroit will be heard across the entire NFL. Derrick Henry wearing that Lions jersey would be more than just a signing. It would be a declaration that the Motor City is officially back in the fast lane, ready to run through anyone who stands in their way. We bring you the latest Lions news every single day. So make sure you're subscribed, hit that like button, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a thing. And of course, drop a comment below with your thoughts on today's news. Your voice makes a difference for Lions Nation. See you in the next video.